She is a Jacksonville native who rose to law enforcement fame before her election to Congress. And today we're talking with Val Demings.
For 27 years, I enforced the laws. Now I have the great honor of writing the laws. And I will always support legislation that protects the American people and protects Floridians.
The U.S. representative reacts to the draft opinion leaked from the Supreme Court. She also gives her hopes for ending inflation in America and talks about running for the U.S. Senate. The issue of abortion, a source of concern and the focus of protesters, our political analyst explains. And City Councilman Rory joins us on This Week in Jacksonville. So glad you're here today. Many Americans were expecting to hear an opinion on abortion laws from the Supreme Court sometime this summer. Instead, this week, a leaked document created headlines and ignited debate across the country. Congresswoman Val Demings was in Jacksonville for campaign events, and I asked her about the two shocking things: the opinion expressed by Justice Samuel Alito, and then the document that it was leaked at all.
To hear that the Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court, was willing to take away a woman's right to choose her own destiny was appalling. And, you know, my phone started blowing up with all of the issues that we are facing as a nation. One that we should not be debating is our responsibility to protect constitutional rights. A woman's right to choose the most intimate, to make the most intimate personal decisions. We should certainly be protecting that right. So it was bad news, but this is not over. We are regrouping, and we're going to continue to fight for a woman's right to make her own independent personal decisions. Let's look at, if you take away Roe versus Wade, and as the draft is written right now, there is no provision written in that draft that would protect a woman's right, even if she was a victim of incest or rape. That's not how we take care of America's daughters.
Something that will play out on where that lands and if that is the Supreme Court's opinion. How do you feel about that news even coming out? This seems like an unprecedented breach of whatever security from the Supreme Court.
I believe whoever was sounding the alarm, this is clearly wrong. And I believe our focus needs to be on this is clearly wrong. And it's basically telling over 70% of the American people what you think is right or what you care about. That's not your decision. This decision will be made for you. And I think that's disgraceful.
I'm processing that for a moment. I don't want to get it wrong, so that's why I'm going to ask for clarification. Do you mean to say that you agree with whoever leaked this
What I'm
opinion?
saying is the process is irrelevant to me. What's important is that this United States Supreme Court, in its current form, it appears, is ready to take away a woman's right to choose her own destiny and make her own decisions, no matter how personal they are. This Supreme Court is saying that those decisions should be made by people you've never met before, people who don't know or care about your personal individual story or circumstances. That is wrong, and that is not who we are as a nation. And women and men, as we saw right after this breaking news came out, men and women gathered at the Supreme Court building, protesting what they believe is on point to happen, and that is to take away a woman's right to choose, to totally ignore established law decided in Roe versus Wade. And we're going to fight that with everything that we have.
Clearly, there's more to discuss on the abortion issue. Later in our show today, political analyst Rick Mullaney will join us as we look at the topic and the unusual way the Supreme Court is being pressured. Now, Congresswoman Demings is a candidate for U.S. Senate in Florida. She's expected to win the Democratic primary in August, then formally face incumbent Marco Rubio. As we spoke about inflation and national security, she tried to paint a picture of the differences between them.
I am the daughter of a maid and a janitor, the youngest of 7 children. I grew up in a 2-bedroom home, 7 children and 2 parents in the home in Mandarin. I watched my parents struggle to make ends meet. So tell me about the cost of goods and services and the struggle to stretch a dollar, right? I know what Floridians are feeling. Millions of dollars have poured into 5 of our ports. Jacksport is at the top of that list, on track to receive $24 million to expand their capacity at the ports. When we talk about the supply chain issues, let's expand capacity at the port. We'll help put more goods on the shelf quicker. That subsequently will help drive down the cost. Look, I pull up to the pumps too and fill up every day. There is no doubt that those prices, they need to come down. We have contacted the administration and talked about, let's tap into our own reserves. Let's stop exports and keep oil and gas here because the American people need it and we need to drive those costs down. But also, we sent a letter to the Federal Trade Commission saying, let's take a look at the big oil and gas companies. Let's make sure there's not market manipulation going on. Look, we all expect prices to go up during a crisis. But we've also seen when the crisis is over, that those prices go down. So it's about everybody counts, but everybody's accountable. And those are things that we can do right now to drive down the costs of pulling up to the pumps. And that's our primary responsibility for the American people. My opponent voted against the bipartisan infrastructure deal. I guess he chose to play politics. For me, if it's good for Florida, I'm going to support it. If it's bad for Florida, I am not. And the bipartisan infrastructure deal, I think we all know, is good for Florida.
I don't know that a lot of people outside of Florida think of Florida as, hey, we've got border security concerns or what have you. The other guys in the race say, hey, Val Demings won't take a stand on this, won't say that she's committed to the southern border security or whatever.
Marco Rubio is living in a fantasy land. I spent 27 years in law enforcement. Worked my way up through the ranks to become the chief of police. The day that I was sworn in as chief, I made it clear that the reduction of violent crime would be my #1 priority. We reorganized the department. We hired the brightest and the best, got rid of those who weren't so good, worked with our community, and we were able to bring violent crime down by 40%. Which was then and still is the most dramatic reduction in violent crime in Orlando. See, it doesn't matter to me why my opponent is playing political games because he wants to pick and choose where security and safety matters. For this former police chief, it does not matter. We are a nation of laws. And whether you live in a neighborhood in North Florida, or you live in another state, or you live in a neighborhood in South Florida, we need to do everything within our power to enforce the law and keep communities safe. That is what I will continue to do. And I think the American people have been pretty clear about where they feel about the safety and security of our nation and the safety and security of our neighborhoods. You know, I talk often about the race in New York, the mayoral race. Had a lot of great candidates in that race. But at the end of the day, it was the former police captain who was victorious. Because regardless of the things people are concerned about, and there is a great list, public safety is still a primary concern. Look, the people that I will represent in Florida, people I represent now and when I go to the U.S. Senate, they shouldn't have to worry about safety at the border, security at the border. That's my job to do that. And I will never use it as a political issue, just like I will not use the safety in our neighborhoods. I will not pick and choose what neighborhoods I want to protect and those I want to ignore. I will do what I've always done as a career law enforcement officer.
And I've invited Senator Rubio to join us on the program. His campaign team, that is, told me this week they hope to arrange that soon. All right, so just ahead, we're going to talk with a lawmaker on the local level. Jacksonville City Councilman Rory Diamond is with us. We're looking at his vote on redistricting in the council seats and what's ahead for him beyond leading K9s for Warriors. That's next on This Week in Jacksonville.
When you have an accident, you really feel lost. To have somebody that's there in your corner helping you getting through that time, it's definitely an amazing feeling.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
Looking for wide open beaches and plenty of exciting ways to have fun? Daytona Beach is the place. So start planning your trip today at DaytonaBeach.com, and we'll see you at the finish line.
What keeps me up at night? Where do I start? Are my kids healthy and safe? Is my mom doing okay? Our crazy schedules. When I need news to help me keep up, I go to the people I know and trust. They get answers to the questions I care about most. The things I need to know to keep my family safe, like tracking the weather that keeps us off the beach. From scams and ripoffs to the I-Team folks who investigate, they show me how that story most affects me. The problem solvers in our backyard. They are who they've always been. News for Jax on Channel 4, the local station.
Hey, Mike Baxter for Outdoor, man.
Mike.
What?
Check. Really?
Mike.
Dad, check. Come on, it's Mike.
What? Check.
Really?
Mike.
Dad, check. Come on, it's Mike. Seriously, check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. On New Year's, I was alone.
You were with me, honey.
Which is alone adjacent.
Weeknights at 8 and 8:30 on Channel 4, the local station.
America, home of the free. Free is our favorite word.
Lee, here's your sandwich, man.
All right.
Like free delivery.
New spicy mayo. You sure?
I'm not seeing it.
We get it.
Could you go back and get it for me?
That's why at Morgan & Morgan, our fee is free. That means you don't pay anything unless we win your case. Injured? Call Morgan & Morgan. ForThePeople.com.
Oh, here it is.
Want Crystal in a snap? Satisfy cravings fast on the app. Download today for 50% off your first order.
George, you're a legend.
George Winterling, one of the leaders in weather forecasting. Now he's back, a staple on local TV for decades.
In 1962, that's when I started at Channel 4.
A weather game changer, not afraid to go his own way.
Weather Bureau said Dora turning northward. I said no.
No modern tech, how he knew the Weather Service was wrong, and the old school tools he used to forecast one of the biggest hurricanes to ever hit our area. The Local Weatherman, Monday starting at 5 on News 4 Jax. You're watching This Week in Jacksonville with Kent Justice.
And glad to be joined in studio by Rory Diamond, CEO of K9s for Warriors, City Councilman here in Jacksonville. I want to talk about at least 3 topics. Let's start with the City Council one. You voted against the council redistricting. That was a couple months ago, March, I believe. You're the only council person to vote against it. And then this week, we see civil rights groups launching a lawsuit saying that they don't think it's fair or right. Explain why you voted against it. Did you see this lawsuit coming? I think it was kind of forecast by some of those groups.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to get a lawsuit. But, I love my colleagues on the council. I respect them. I just disagreed with them on principle because what we did is, we get to do this every 10 years, redraw these maps, and we started with the old map rather than just starting with a clean slate. And to me, that was about protecting incumbents. And I'm just not interested in protecting incumbents. I want to get new blood, new people in there. That's why I propose a new term limits bill. It's why I've tried to cap salaries on council and come up with other good government reforms which will bring new people in and, maybe take some of the power out of City Hall and give it back to the people.
Was it surprising at all that so many other members of the council, City Council said, no, we're good with this? I mean, the claims in this lawsuit are, hey, the way the districts are packed, as they've called it, said, hey, we've kind of funneled the black votes into these 4 districts rather than spreading it out across 19 districts in the city of Jacksonville.
Yeah, if you look what Governor DeSantis has been talking about with Florida's redistricting for the whole state, it's that we're not looking to just pack people of a certain race into a seat. And that's exactly what we have here. 7, 8, 9, and 10, those are our districts. We're just really packing one race in there. It wasn't my favorite way to do this. I would like to see more compact districts that give communities a chance rather than just one type of person.
So some of the claim is about it reduces the impact or power of the black vote in Duval County. 7 of the 19 council members are African Americans. Is that enough of a representation, or is that something that you feel like has to just play out as you redo the maps based on population and the census data?
Well, what's great about Jacksonville is that we're interested in electing people of both parties of all different colors. So we have 2 at-large city council people who are African American. We've got all sorts of interesting and diverse people on our city council. So I thought now was the time, with Jacksonville being where it is today, to have more compact districts. That was just my personal preference. I didn't want to protect incumbents. I was a little less worried about this race piece, more about just giving an open playing field for anybody who wants to run.
So 2 elements that are a little more personal, I think, to you. There's been speculation about what's next for Rory Diamond, especially given the new congressional maps from the state. You were seen as a potential candidate in this new Congressional District 4. What did you decide instead?
Yeah, so instead, as much as it would be interesting to go to Washington, D.C., although it's kind of a mess these days, is I'm staying at Canines for Warriors. I have the best day job in the world, and we're like a rocket ship right now, and to bounce out now would not have been the right thing to do. In addition to that, I'm going to serve in the Florida National Guard in the U.S. Army as a JAG officer, and that takes a lot of time of training and focus, and so those 2 things really need me to be here. And then I get to represent the beaches in Jacksonville, my favorite home, this place that's so important to me. So getting to continue to do that is important too.
So many people will note what the acronym is, but JAG. So explain what that JAG role is for in this case, the Florida National Guard.
Yeah, it's called a Judge Advocate General, and those are the lawyers in the Army, and they do all sorts of things. They help, get troops ready to go off to war and tell them what the rules are. They do court martials. They do all the things that both prosecutors and defenders and judges do. You're all 3 in 1, and I've always wanted to serve, and now I'm getting my chance. I'm excited. I get my commission in a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's something, huh? I mean, how
excited.
about that? Yeah, commission in a couple of weeks. In the meantime, tell us about Canines for Warriors. I drive by a construction site on the side of US 1 in St. Johns County. We know that you're expanding other places in the country. What's happening with Canines for Warriors?
Yeah, I'll go from west to east. So a couple of weeks ago, we announced Canines for Warriors Arizona. So we'll have a 44 kennel, about 30 people operating in the city of Phoenix, and we'll be fully operational in Arizona in just a couple of months. We just had our first graduation in San Antonio, so dogs rescued in San Antonio, trained in San Antonio with San Antonio Warriors, so that's fully going. And then what you see all the time is just down the street here on Highway 1, the world's largest rescue dog training center. We call it the Mega Kennel, so we can triple the number of dogs we can rescue and warriors we can serve. Super excited. It's like I said, it's been like a rocket ship lately.
Last minute, explain to people what you mean. Rescue dogs turn into service dogs? I mean, that's the unique thing that's so cool about Canines for Warriors.
Yeah, we go to high-kill shelters all over the country looking for those special dogs we think will make incredible service dogs. We get them back up to health and then train them 6 to 8 months, and then pair them with a warrior who's suffering from post-traumatic stress. It's a beautiful thing. You can just see hope reborn right in front of you.
I've seen some of that in action. I've been to a graduation ceremony there at Canines for Warriors at the headquarters. It's something that really seems to make a difference for those warriors who get the dog. Hey, Rory Diamond, makes a difference that you spent some time with us today.
Hey, no, thanks for having me, Ken.
We covered a lot of topics there. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, stay with us because News4Jack's political analyst Rick Mullaney will be here, and he's got some insight on the Supreme Court opinion, the leak, and redistricting. Rick is joining us next on This Week in Jacksonville. Okay.
People have been wondering, what's happening to Lindsay? But it's really what Lindsay's gotten into, Planet Fitness. And now through May 10th, you can join for $1 down and only $10 a month. Join now and feel fit-tacular for $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime. But hurry, deal ends Tuesday, May 10th.
That's a pretty tight spot.
Watch this.
Your Buick parks itself. That's so you.
Of course you know where we're going. That's so you.
Kind of got a sixth sense.
And a head-up display.
They're here.
You brought all these players in your Buick?
Yep.
So you.
It is.
At the heart of every Buick SUV is you. Pay no interest on Buick SUV models.
Want to wake up refreshed and ready for the day every day? Then get to Bears Furniture now. Our mattress specialist will listen to your needs and guide you to the mattress that's just right for you. We have all the major brands in every size and comfort level at the guaranteed lowest price. Get ready for the best rest of your life on a mattress you'll love. Recharge, refresh, and make every night a good night with Bears Furniture. Sleep beautifully.
Harold & Harold's been in this community for decades. And building relationships is not just about building relationships with clients, it's about building relationships with defense attorneys, building relationships with insurance companies, and having a reputation of doing what's best for your clients. And having the experience and understanding of what we're doing makes a big difference with knowing what's important to communicate, how to communicate, and to negotiate with the other side to seek the best results for our clients.
We all play an important part in helping every child achieve their best health. Gifts from our community help kids well beyond medicine. Families receiving care at Nemours Children's need your support. Make today your day of giving. Text KIDS to 50155.
Next ET.
We had a blast.
Our exclusive backstage at the iHeart Country Festival.
Oh, sorry, I'm just trying to take your microphone.
Take my job, Carrie Underwood.
Next ET. Monday at 7 on Channel 4, the local station.
Tracking last-minute birthday gifts? You're not alone. Tracking your kid's lost phone? You bet. Tracking your pizza? Yeah, that too. Tracking rain down to the minute so your family can still get outside? We do that every day. Chief Meteorologist John Gahn and the Weather Authority. Tracking when, where, and how weather will get in your way. Helping you get around it and keep your plans on track. The Weather Authority. Always watching, always tracking. Channel 4, the local station.
People have been wondering,
What's happening to Lindsay?
but it's really what Lindsay's gotten into, Planet Fitness. And now through May 10th, you can join for $1 down and only $10 a month. Join now and feel fit-tacular for $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime. But hurry, deal ends Tuesday, May 10th.
You're watching This Week in Jacksonville on Channel 4.
The Supreme Court is facing increasing public pressure as justices make a final decision on whether to throw out the landmark Roe v. Wade ruling that protects abortion rights. Here's a map of all states that are likely to restrict abortion if the historic ruling is overturned. This is according to the Guttmacher Institute. As you can see, Florida, Georgia, a majority of the Southeast included in this. You know, many Democrats are fighting to uphold Roe v. Wade. Vice President Kamala Harris posted a tweet this week saying it would be a direct assault on freedom if it's overturned. Only 2 Republican senators say that they support abortion access, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska and Susan Collins of Maine. Rick Mullaney is the founder of Jacksonville University's Public Policy Institute and our News for Jax political analyst. This is something that right away when the news broke earlier this week, we were on the phone, we were talking about. Seems like several things are surprising. Let's start with the leak from the Supreme Court. Do you recall ever having the court's internal process, the behind-the-scenes discussion, revealed before the court actually made its opinion known?
The short answer is no. It was stunning. Fortunately, it's rare. Don't recall anything quite like it, especially with the stakes being this high. And it's important to remember what this is. This was a draft opinion from February, and of course, this is May. For all we know, the votes may have changed. It's important to know the process, Kent. What the Supreme Court does when they have a draft like that is they will circulate it. It was a first draft.
Among the justices,
Among the justices. Yeah. And they can change the language. In fact, I'll make this prediction. I think the language will change because of who the justices are. They can also change their votes, which may be more problematic now. And apparently 5 justices were in support. It only takes 1 to shift to reach a compromise. So if you step back and take a look at this leak was stunning. Like I said, it was rare. And by the way, it's very damaging to the court as an institution. This is a very different third branch of government. It's not like Congress. It's not like the presidency. It is the umpire in the baseball game. And this really does undermine the credibility of the court. Very damaging. Needs to be prevented in the future. And I hope they certainly find out and hold accountable whoever it was, whether from the right or left.
So let's show some video here in downtown Jacksonville this week, a women's march and then a rally outside the Duval County Courthouse. And Rick, we've been talking about what the Supreme Court opinion could mean on abortion, like the graphic we showed just a moment ago with the states. Can the Supreme Court be influenced or swayed in its opinion by these kinds of public displays?
Well, Kent, first of all, they shouldn't be. They are not the political branch of government. They're unelected. They're not there to set policy. They're not there to tell what their policy preference is. They're there for the rule of law. And really, there is one narrow issue. Is there a constitutional right to an abortion under the United States Constitution, particularly the 14th Amendment? They're not there for the policy debate, which is a very emotional and big one. They're not there for the politics. They are there to make a call. And so hopefully they're not influenced by that. Saying that, they're only human. Having said that, whoever leaked this may have wanted to intimidate them or influence them in some way. That may actually make it more difficult. But again, remember, this draft was from February. They may have shifted language. They may have shifted their opinion. But it's doubtful that these public displays will influence their final decision, and it really shouldn't. On the merits, they should make calls like an umpire in a baseball game.
It's not exclusive, but by and large, Republicans have really focused on the leak and the egregious nature of that happening. Democrats have focused elsewhere. Tell me about the difference in the parties and their reaction.
There is a very, and you've captured it really well, the Republicans have focused on the leak, and they want to find out who leaked it and hold it accountable, and that's what they're talking about. The Democrats, on the other hand, have backed it very swiftly. You've seen from Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren a call for maybe a filibuster to pass a statute to ensure abortion rights, and that would be litigated too. There have been calls about packing the court. There have been very strong language criticizing the court, very severe. And Kent, there has been fundraising, in particular on the Democratic side for the midterms. They feel this is a political lifeline and can help them in the midterms. So the reaction on the Democratic side has been swift, it has been strong, it has been an attack on the court, and it's been a positioning for the midterms.
It seems like a political earthquake this week, right?
Kent, it is. The real earthquake potentially could come in June when the final decision is expected. If, in fact, this draft opinion becomes the final opinion, although I expect the language to be different, but if this is the opinion, it is a political earthquake. And you'll start to measure what impact it could have on the midterms. Let me mention two in particular for the Democrats. Number one, it could motivate their base. And for the Democrats, this is a way to turn out the vote, and elections are about turnout. Second, it helps the Democrats change the topic, because right now, if you're talking inflation, if you're talking crime, if you're talking immigration, it's advantage Republicans. And thirdly, it can help them change history, because history is not on side of the party in power. Quite frankly, the Republicans have the advantage. So if you're looking to the midterms now, prior to this opinion, strongly favoring the Republicans, clearly in the House of Representatives, maybe in the Senate, with this potential political earthquake, you'd have to see the impact. Potentially, it could impact the midterms.
So let me finish with a quote from Justice Alito in that February draft document. He said, "We cannot allow our decisions to be affected by any extraneous influences such as concern about the public's reaction to our work." We'll see if that holds true and what happens later this year and into the summer. Rick Mullaney, thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
So next time here on This Week in Jacksonville, retired General Mike Fleming is with us. We're looking at the efforts to train clergy how to support veterans and their families. This Week in Jacksonville airs each Sunday morning at this time. I'm Kent Justice. Thanks for watching on air on Channel 4 and the CW17. And you can find us online at news4jax.com or streaming on News4Jax Plus.
Every day, more people are choosing News4Jax, Northeast Florida and South Georgia's #1 source for local news.